Hi, this time we discuss anime with strong main characters that can surprise some anime characters. In this discussion, it looks ordinary but has a hidden ability that can surprise anyone, when its abilities begin to be revealed. Shinkanomi. At a school, an event occurs which causes all students to be transferred to another world. A man claiming to be a god suddenly ordered all the disciples to form a group so they wouldn't be separated. When they arrive at their destination, they are also equipped with various special skills and statuses. But the student named Hiragi Sayaji doesn't have any special skills, his status is also very low. Therefore none of his classmates want to group with him. Finally, he moved to a secluded place alone, where it was a gathering place for high-level beasts. Meanwhile, his friends enter a peaceful urban area to survive. Seiichi ate anything he could find, and subconsciously the fruit he had eaten made him evolve. His skills and all stats improved greatly and Seiichi's appearance changed for the better. He also had legendary equipment after defeating high-leveled enemies. As a result, even though he started at the lowest level, he has unconsciously turned out to be extremely powerful and has shocked everyone he meets. Maho Shoujo Tokushusen Asuka. Mouse Oho Tokushusen Asuka begins when the entire world manifests with the attack of alien beings from the other dimension. At the same time, the elf from the other dimension offers help by granting magical powers to a chosen woman. Therefore a special defense force was formed called the Magical Girl, where they have magical abilities that can be used to overcome threats from alien beings. A student named Octoria Ashuka is one of them. However, he left the military force and no longer wanted to be involved in the fighting. The reason is that every time he fights, the people closest to him is involved in danger. After the last boss was defeated, Asuka returned to her daily life as a student. And as much as possible she hides her true identity as a magical girl, even though the threat from aliens has been resolved, but in reality, peace has not been achieved. Because there are terrorist groups that carry out various criminal acts and cause many victims. In addition, illegal floods from various places also began to appear. Because of that, Asuka returned to using her power to save people. Sutsuriku no Tenshi. The story focuses on a woman named Rachel and a man named Asa who are both trapped in a dungeon. It was said that previously Rachel had come to the hospital for counseling. Then suddenly he woke up in a dark room. Rachel is a weak act of helplessness. While Aisha, or commonly called Substance, is a man who is quite strong, but he is an uncontrollable sadistic killer. When they first meet, Aisha intends to kill Rachel. He brutally attacked and chased Rachel to the next floor. At first, Rachel tried to get out because she wanted to meet her parents. But after meeting a doctor named Daniel, he recalled the condition of his parents who had passed away. Therefore he no longer had any reason to live and begged the time to kill him. Seeing Rachel's insensible condition no longer targeted her, as she was only after someone who looked happy or had a high life expectancy. But to get out of that place, the Substance cooperates with Rachel to solve the puzzles in the building. Love Alternative. One day an alien species from outer space came to Earth. Since then, mankind has fought an all-out war against the alien species. For the sake of winning mankind's war. Then develop new weapons of war and form troops trained to control them. However, when the Earth was almost completely controlled, mankind decided to leave the Earth in a project called Alternative. When the project was running, there was a small percentage of humans sent to immigrate to other planets, while the rest but on planet Earth. The decision caused humans on planet Earth to almost experience extinction. Another time a student named Shirogane Takeru had a nightmare, where humanity suffered a complete defeat. Then when he left the house, he was shocked by the condition of the world that had been destroyed. He saw a scene that was familiar to him, therefore Shirogane assumed that he was in a parallel world when the alternative project had not yet been implemented. It was on that occasion he tried to prevent the failure of the project and was determined to protect the Earth and all mankind. Yuke Holder is a student who becomes an immortal after his life is saved by Evangeline, or a pureblood vampire commonly referred to as Yukiheim's teacher. Because his identity has been exposed, Koni and Yukiheim then went to the capital, On their way they were greeted by an organization called Yukeholder whose members consisted of immortals from various places. Even though the people in the organization were quite strong, but the threat from the human immortal hunters couldn't be underestimated. Connie along with her partner was attacked while on a mission in the slums. But thanks to that attack, Connie's vampire powers began to rise when her friends were helpless. Connie gains extraordinary power. As a result, he can continue to fight and save his friends from enemy attacks. In that battle, he had also unknowingly awakened black magic, or the greatest secret technique possessed by an immortal. But the power runs the risk of making its owner lose his mind. No gun's life. In this anime, there is an extended or a term for everyone who has equipped his body with mechanical tools. When the war was over, many extended former soldiers committed criminal acts. A man named Inazuma was one of the extended who worked as a mercenary agent. He takes on various assignments to deal with other extended related cases. One day he gets a mission to protect a boy named Tetsuro. Even though he looks like a normal human, it turns out that Tetsuro is an experimental subject with the ability to remotely control other extended. Juju found out about this after his client was captured by the enemy. At first, Juju suffered defeat for protecting the empty extended controlled by Tetsuro. But after understanding the conditions well, he rushed to save Tetsuro and left the extended empty. When he jumps into action with just one punch, it turns out that he can easily stop a speeding train. When he returned to face the enemy, he also seemed to have a very strong defense. Phantasy Star Online episode Oracle begins when a teenager named Az is on his way to a planet to take the exam to be a member of AXE. One of the people in his group named Alvin tried to get along with him. But at that time the ace was cold and didn't care about it. Then after arriving on a planet called Novarius, they were surrounded by a monster that was quite strong. As a result, almost all of the members of the group lost their lives. And only Ace and Avin can survive. Since then the two of them have become closer, even though they are still beginners, but it turns out that the US has a better fighting ability. He can still fight while helping his comrades. Therefore, only the two of them were declared eligible to be part of AXE. Long story short, they met a mysterious woman who suddenly appeared on the planet Novarius. The woman seemed to recognize Ace, but she couldn't remember anything about his life. SSSS Gridman. Set in a city that is being attacked by a giant creature. The destroyed city will return to its original state, but if someone dies during the incident, he will disappear and no one will be able to remember him. One day a student named Hibiki Yuta wakes up at the house of his classmate, Takarada Rika. When he woke up he couldn't remember anything, and since then he's been able to see things that no one else can see. He could also hear a mysterious voice emanating from the robot called Gridman. Then at a different time Yuta with his friends back to Rika's house to see the Gridman. But sadly only Yuta can see it. At that time he was warned that there would be danger approaching him. His friends responded that Yuta was out of his mind because he was seen talking to himself with an old computer. But suddenly everyone started to be surprised by the appearance of a giant creature from the gap. They began to believe what Yuta said to stop the creature. Yuta then fights as Gridman while his friend helps him control the old computer connected to Gridman. Shikizakora. In this anime, there are power shoot users. Power shot users are a group of people who can fight Oni or evil beings who come from the spiritual world. Once upon a time, a boy named Luxurious Kakero found himself involved in an Oni fight. While in a building he finds Ibara or combat equipment that has its consciousness. When Kakeru wears it he gains tremendous power, but unfortunately, since wearing that combat gear his consciousness is taken over completely. He became uncontrollable and attacked anyone in his path. But Kakeru almost hurt someone. His consciousness suddenly returned. He can control Ibara of his own free will. Even so, other power shot users consider it a threat. So he is no longer allowed to use it, but because Kakeru wants to be a hero and feels able to control Ibara. In the end, he decided to go back to using Ibara.